Welcome, everyone, to episode 41 of the David Ghiyam podcast. For those of you who are new, I usually just share about 15 to 20 minutes of the energy of the week and the types of challenges that we might be experiencing and consciousness that we can employ to create miracles and manifest a higher destiny in our lives. I always like to start with very short speaking about kind of my schedule coming up for those of you who want to try to connect in person or to know about new content that I'm featuring. I am actually right now filming in London. I have a seminar in a few days, and then I'm heading back to Los Angeles May 25th. I'm going to be giving a new topic. It's on relationships and soulmates, male and female energy. The Los Angeles ones are always very intimate, around 250 people. So same location, Edition Hotel in West Hollywood. Then I'm heading over to Tel Aviv. Very excited to be able to represent that part of the world. I know I have people flying in from all around. It was between Tel Aviv and Dubai. My schedule just did not allow me to get to Dubai in time with certain things that I had before and after. But Dubai is on the list. I've been hearing you, and it has been the most requested city so far for us. So I'll be in Tel Aviv June 6th. We're anticipating 500 to 700 people for that seminar. And for those of you who may not have known, I have released Your Infinite Soul, which is Level 1 and 2, which is a series where I explain the deeper framework of the wisdom of Kabbalah in a structured order, and I give you the tools that you need in order to create miracles in your lives. And as well, I have digitized, cut up, and released one of my live 6-hour seminars on prosperity called Limitless Abundance. It's probably my most powerful seminar I've given on this topic, and incorporates about 25 years of my own business coaching, as well as the building of a global wellness brand. So hope you enjoy it. All of it's on my website, davidghiyam.com. So what's the energy of this week? As I mentioned before, we are in a 49-day period that can seem quite intense and heavy. The sages say that during this period of time, which began about a few weeks ago, there's an acceleration of what's called our tikkun process, our soul's correction. So many of us who might be feeling like there's challenges around, especially relationships. A lot of relationships start and stop during this time, not because there's anything wrong with them, not because they're not meant to be, but because there is a healing that needs to go inside each person. And the area of relationships also around business, around children. These things tend to come up to the surface. So any part of your life where your soul is trying to get to a higher level of certainty, a higher level of confidence inside yourself, which is one of the topics we're going to be talking about today, a belief in yourself, you're going to see that amplified and accelerated during this time. Because that's what it comes down to. How much certainty do you have in yourself? I spoke about it in my seminar in LA last week, and I did make a post about it, which I know garnered a lot of different comments. I talked about how in our lives, when we rely on something as a source of energy, as a source of happiness and fulfillment, as the prime source of happiness and fulfillment, and that energy source is not our relationship with the Creator, ultimately, what we're doing is we're taking energy from that thing. And I talked about, for example, if you have a pet, or if you are dating and you're connecting to someone, or if it's your business and you're running to that thing to soothe you, you're running to that thing as your source of happiness. Often when you say this statement, well, at least I have that. At least I have this thing in my life. You know, everything else is crazy, but at least I have you. When we say that, what we're essentially doing is making that person, that animal, that situation, that business, our source of energy. And when it becomes our primary source of energy, we are shutting down the desire. And it's a very unconscious thing that happens. We're shutting down the desire to seek out this invisible force of the Creator, which is an infinite force, which encapsulates everything. We have learned in Your Infinite Soul, in Kabbalah, that the reason why our soul came to this world is to unify itself with the light of the Creator. And the way it does that is through affinity of form, which means we are transforming ourselves to embody the qualities of the Creator. And by doing so, every day becoming more like the Creator, our soul is able to earn this light. And when that metaphysical energy enters our soul, it manifests in a physical way down here in this lower world as abundance, as prosperity, as love, as certainty, as fulfillment of all sorts. In fact, you can just let go. Because whatever it is that you desire for your life, if I asked you to create the dream list of everything you've ever wanted and just write it all down, it is a fraction of a percent of what the Creator actually wants to give you and has already created for you. So in your wildest dreams, everything you ask for is just a fraction. It's just a fraction. And this is why it behooves us to not micromanage our fulfillment, not micromanage our goals, not micromanage what we think should be coming into our lives. Of course, in my courses, I've talked about creating structure and creating goals and creating vision boards. In my board meetings at my company at Mary Roots, of course, I'm not just saying, hey, let's just see what the Creator wants. There's a budget. There's a budget, and there's cash flows and inflows and outflows, and there's a strategy, and there's an innovation, and there's supply chain, and there's finance, and there's HR. And you got to have pros in position managing these departments, and they need to have KPIs, so on and so forth. All of that is fine and dandy, and that is there. I am talking from a spiritual point of view that we need to internally know that, yes, we set physical goals, but we want infinite. We want to expand ourselves and open ourselves up to everything that the Creator wants to give us, and we don't want to limit. I can't tell you how many times I've created structure in my life, but then my intuition will come to me and say, talk to this person, when in reality, that person doesn't fit in the structure I've created. Or fly to this country, go to this event, when in reality, if I look at my life and where it's at, I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be going there. But something in my gut tells me to do it. Now, many of you will ask, well, how do I know what my intuition is telling me? How do I know if my intuition is right or wrong? And it's quite simple, actually. I start my day by just telling the Creator through prayer, and that can be a 1-minute thing or a 30-minute thing. It's totally up to you in your language. You tell the Creator, I have my day planned. I have my calendar planned. I am moving forward with what I think is right. But I am 1,000% open to being guided to something that is beyond my logical mind, that is beyond what my body consciousness and my environment and my society and statistics tells me is the right thing to do. I am so open, guide me. This is actually a verse from the Old Testament that Abraham said, that Moses said, that Isaac said, that Jacob said. It says, Haneni Shalcheni. It's Hebrew and Aramaic for, I am here, I am willing, send me in whatever direction you want me to go. And so these great sages that lived for thousands of years, they realized they had to live in two worlds. One is of structure, of doing the best you can do that you know you can do, of the facilities that are given to you to be the best version of you. And in the second reality, be infinite, be open. Through prayer, you request that the Creator guides you, the way King David said that he would wake up and he had a schedule, and his feet would move in the opposite direction of the schedule. Meaning his body was so transformed to be angelic that his body actually moved in a different direction according to what the Creator wanted to give him. So this is the level we want to get to. This is the infinite power that each one of us has. We have to break the mold. And you could feel that tightness in your chest when I say it. We have so many things in our schedule, in our to-dos. We have responsibility. We have children. We have relationships. We have our dating life. We have our marriage life. We have exes. We have parents. We have grandparents. We have siblings. We have so many responsibilities. It sounds heavy just saying it. But to realize that you can live in a reality rising above all of that. Of course, your body, the avatar of you, will be in this physical world, connecting with people, doing its thing. I can't tell you how many times my body has had to sit in a 6-hour board meeting and sit with investors and sit with people where I'd rather be talking to the Creator. I'd rather be in prayer. I'd rather be somewhere else connecting with you. I'd rather be posting content that I feel is going to affect millions of people, but I have certain responsibilities in this physical world. So what I've learned is you put your body there. You put your body there and you can actually connect on a different level. This duality is something that we must all accomplish. And I'm not saying check out of the meeting. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you're in this meeting and everyone's talking and you're looking at them, you should say to the Creator in your mind, I'm open now to endless ideas. I'm open now to inspiration. I'm open to living with you and simultaneously being in this physical world. The sages actually say that when you eat food, that's the way you should be. You should tell your body, we're sitting here, we're going to eat food because I know you need it to survive another day. But me, the soul, I don't need food. I'm only doing this for you. So let's get this over with. You have your food. And then we will then use this energy that you are connecting to in order to establish a relationship with the Creator, in order to have a desire to be with the Creator, in order to go learn and to study and to act like the Creator, which means to be giving, which means to not be taking. A lot of people give, but their giving has an agenda, so they're also taking. It means to have certainty. And finally, it means to have certainty in yourself. And that's the energy of this week. This week gives each one of us the energy to have balanced circuitry and certainty in our lives about ourselves. How much confidence do you have in your power to achieve anything? Because the truth is, and I've seen this, thousands of people that I have met who I have seen achieve things that were not possible, it is simply because they believed in themselves. Think there's so many people in this world. Think of even people who become the president of a country or a prime minister. And they have half the nation, half the world hating them, throwing everything at them, death threats, punishing them, suffocating them, making them miserable in every way. So how do they rise to the top? How does any president rise to the top? One thing, they believe in themselves. That's it. They don't care if 150 million people hate them. Think of how many times we get depressed and sad and derailed just when one person doesn't like us. It's all a function of, do you have certainty in yourself? You can do endless things. And when you have ideas, when visions come to you, it means it's possible. If you ever get a vision of something you are doing, something you are saying, somewhere you are going, someone told me recently they had a vision of getting an Oscar. If they had a vision of getting an Oscar, it means there is a destiny that exists where they can get an Oscar. How? It's not up to us to figure out how. I would never know how. Put the best business people in a room, we're not going to know how. Put Steven Spielberg in the room with this person, he's not going to know how. But only the Creator knows how. So she has to first tell herself, I know without a shadow of a doubt I'm having an Oscar. Then in this physical world, and I've talked about this actually in the digital courses, in order to create the miracle, we have to put maximum pressure on 4 things. Number 1, we got to put maximum pressure in our physical work. That means, in this physical world, we have to take those meetings. We have to make that effort. We have to push ourselves. We can't just say, oh, I'm spiritual, and it's all going to work out. We have to invest in the physical world because there is a concept I talk about in Your Infinite Soul called the concept of bread of shame that the sages say you have to earn physically and spiritually, which means we have to break the body consciousness the same way you would break it at the gym. You can't just develop muscles by looking at your body and massaging it and saying nice things to it. You need to break your body in order for it to get stronger and more beautiful. And so we need to break, quote unquote, this physical world when it comes to work. And I'm not saying you need to work 15 hours a day and be sweating and running around like a chicken without a head. That's not what we're talking about. It's not just work harder. It's also work smarter. It's work with certainty. It's work with desire. It's work in a way where you are open to receiving feedback and criticism. It's work in a way where you believe in yourself, and that's in the physical world. And then there's the spiritual. The spiritual means the work that we do on ourselves. If you're taking things personally right now in some area of your life, that's blocking your sustenance. If you're holding on to guilt, or shame that's blocking your sustenance. If you're holding on to what someone said or didn't say, an apology you should have gotten, but you didn't. If you're frustrated about something, you're holding on to that frustration for a long time. That is closing up your vessel and the energy can't come in. That's the spiritual quadrant. And of course, I can talk hours and hours about each one of these. The third one is certainty. No matter what happens in your life, you must have certainty that it is for the good. No matter what. I was sitting on the plane in the Virgin Atlantic, and by the way, it's a great airline. I was sitting in my seat on the way from LAX to London. I was reading my book, and the guy next to me took off his shoes, bare feet. And the way the seats are actually, these were the lay flats, so the pods are kind of parallel to each other, but they kind of end, like there's no divider, so you don't have that much privacy. And he just laid down, he put his feet right up. I had two big feet without shoes and socks after 9 hours on the plane, just like right here in my face. And these were not pedicured feet. They were not pedicured feet. They were right there. I just told myself, this always happens right before a big seminar. This is my pause, what a pleasure moment. And I took a good 2 to 3 hours and I embraced those feet. I said, these are the feet of the angels of God. That's what I said. That's what I had to tell myself. And I loved those feet. I blessed those feet and the smell that came from them. And it was, and I knew that, listen, that's what it is. It's complete certainty. Why would the Creator put that person next to me if not to I'm laughing because my cameraman is laughing. Why would the Creator put that person? I was in 8G and he was in 9G. Why? Why would he be there? And look, I could have told him to put his feet down. And by the way, you are allowed to. If you're not upset or you're not reactive anymore, you can then tell someone to do something if you feel that's the right thing to do once you're not upset anymore. But I had to pause. I had to say, what a gift. And I knew with certainty that discomfort was just from the Creator. And every discomfort is from the Creator. But it's not that the Creator is punishing or sending you a discomfort. It's that there are certain things within our soul that there's negativity, like viruses and cancers, spiritual cancers, that then attract similar mirrored parasites that make us uncomfortable, but only to show us what we need to change. So the fact that this person was putting his feet up wasn't just for me to not get upset and it's a moment in time, not to be reactive. And that was the first test. The second test was, well, that was inconsiderate of him, wasn't it? He wasn't really conscious of people around him. So the lesson for me would be to look inside myself and see where I am not being conscious, or maybe where I'm being entitled. And then we would remove a layer of that. We would be conscious of that throughout the day. And then that puts you on a similar vibration to the light of the Creator, and that's what creates miracles. So the fourth quadrant would be prayer. And I've talked about this before. And I'm going very briefly through all of these. The podcast is meant to inspire. It's not meant to necessarily go deep into education. That's what my online classes are mainly for. The prayer is speaking out loud in your own language to the Creator and just asking and requesting, show me, guide me, give me strength, give me certainty. Even when you're eating at a restaurant, you're looking at the menu, pray, ask the Creator, what should I eat? What food, what animal, what vegetable has sparks that I need, sparks of light that I need? We should be praying all the time. And when we do these four things, we create miracles in our lives. When we tap into these four quadrants deeply and make that part of our lives, we create miracles everywhere we go. And you must know that you have the power, infinite power, to create anything you want. And if you're getting a vision, especially this week, about something you're supposed to do, somewhere you're supposed to go, something you're meant to receive, know that it is part of your destiny and you should strive for it, not just in this lifetime, not just this year, but this week. This is the week that the impossible can be possible. Within one of the most challenging times of the year, where there's the greatest darkness, there is the greatest light.